Bonjour, 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 bonsoir, and welcome back on Étincelle. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, this morning, this afternoon. I don't know exactly where you may be found, but I'm so happy and glad to be right once more in front of your screen. Oh wow, today just feels a little bit different. I don't know why, but I'm glad that you are connected once more, and thank you so much for tuning in. Please, can you tell a friend to tell a friend, share this live with somebody who needs it, someone who needs to hear a word of the things we are going to talk about today, which is all about epilepsy. All right, so before we dive into the subject, before we swim in trying to take a little bit piece in there in order to highlight what really is epilepsy. Is it real? Is it a myth? Can we cure it? Can we not? And what is fit? What is, listen, we are going to go down on every single bit of it, and I hope that you're ready. Just to remind you that Étincelle is also on YouTube. We found on TikTok, on Instagram. We literally on every single page apart from TikTok. But honestly, tune in. And then there are some shows that, you never know, it can actually highlight you, edify you, not just you, but also family members or even the community. So please tune in as much as you can. All right, so I'm going to give you a short little break, just 2 seconds, 2 minutes, for you to change, change your position, your couch, maybe grab some food here and there, and for us to, dive in together. So please feel free to, to leave some comments so we can, read them, comment on them, reply back. You never know. There's actually a surprise for you today. All right, cool. 2 minutes. All right, so we are back on our show tonight. Epilepsy is the theme. So I had some few questions in there. Actually, there's a list of, some themes that, I got some suggestions, and I always say that if there's anything that you feel like, hey, Gracia, can you talk about it? I would gladly talk about it, especially if it's about, you know, edifying the people, talking about something that is taboo. Because I'm that kind of person that when something's taboo, that means there's a reason why it's taboo, right? If it's really not something that we should not really mention, then maybe I won't go. But I'm the kind of person who would take the risk to bring it out on the surface in order for us to discuss more and understanding, you know, the origin of it. All right. So epilepsy is the theme today. Is epilepsy, you know, real? Is it a spirit? Is it what's it called, curable? I mean, can you heal? Can you come out safe out of epilepsy? What is really epilepsy? All right. So, and this is what I'm going to discuss. You listen, you know me, I always come prepared when it comes to epilepsy, when it comes to any other subject, honestly. Yeah. All right. So what is epilepsy? According to my notes, epilepsy is a common condition. It's not, you know, the kind of condition that you feel like, okay, you know what, is it actually real? Because I had a lot of people telling me, Gracia, it seems like we don't believe in epilepsy. We feel like it's a demon, you know, because according to some people's theory, behind everything there is a spirit. So when they see a person shaking, when they see a person moving some type of way, for them, there must be something going on when it comes to them. So it's definitely not real. All right. So it maybe cannot be what's it called, can be healed. It cannot be treated in a way. So epilepsy is a common condition, guys. It's a common condition where you suddenly, you know, burst out of you know, you feel like you're shaking. All right. It's an activity in the brain called seizure or fit. So when it comes to these two words, I beg you, please go and search it up. But basically, it's when you're moving a certain way, reacting a certain way, where you're shaking. You know, you can't seem to control yourself. You're maybe on the floor, maybe things are coming out of your mouth. It's really a thing, guys. It's really a thing. So it says there are lots of possibility or possible symptoms of epilepsy. So there's not just one epilepsy or one type of epilepsy, but there are many. And you just need to know. And maybe if you can't seem to figure out what is it really, then your doctor is the best person to go to. All right. So of epilepsy, seizure, including uncontrollable shaking, as I just mentioned earlier, or losing awareness of the things around you. So it happens that you may, you know, lose control, and by you losing control, you may not remember the things that you were doing, the things that you know, that happened just before you having, you know, with this epilepsy attack. And this really can happen, you know, really being really severe, and sometimes not that severe, but it's still something. All right. So you always need to be aware of the things that are around you, the things that's happening. And then it's very, very important that you are surrounded with the people who loves you. All right. So this is epilepsy. And it says the main treatment, I believe that we're going to go deep a little bit more on here and there, but the main treatment when it comes to epilepsy is medicine in order to stop the seizure. So now, I had a conversation with somebody. As you can tell, we're human being, right? When it comes to human being, there's not just one race, there are many races. And when it comes to these races, there are also culture when it comes, which is attached to this what's it called, people and where they live and so forth. So now, epilepsy has been, if I may say, seen as if you're cursed, you know, seen as if like there is a problem with you. Why? Because, well, you're shaking. Why are you shaking? It seems like what you sound, or maybe you look as if, you know, you're a chicken, right? You know, chicken that always shakes all the time, that moves, you can't stay still, and it can even go deeper. Well, that's what people say, right? So now we're gonna cover every single one of them and trying to make you, for you to understand exactly what is epilepsy. And for everyone or anyone out there who has epilepsy, who feel like they want to say something of it, please drop a comment and let's be polite in our comments. All right, maybe you may educate us on something that we don't know, but let me bring you some facts and so forth, because there is a friend of mine who suffered from it, and so I kind of have some insight when it comes to that. All right, so it's often also clear and often not clear that that what really causes epilepsy. And just this to say that once more, there are many kinds of epilepsy, and it's all about your brain. Sometimes it's also about, maybe it's when it comes to your lineage, your background, your moms and dads, and the people, your grandfather, your grandmother, people way before you in your bloodline who had epilepsy. This also can this can also happen, that is only you're the first one this happens to, and maybe it's because of circumstances that you went through that has really came to disturb and damage your brain, because it's all about your brain, guys. It's really all about your brain. When your brain has been shaken, your brain has been moved, your brain has gone through quite a lot of shock, this can happen that you get epilepsy. All right, so it says, as I just said, it caused by damage to the brain from things like severe head injury. You may hurt yourself somewhere. You may, hit your head, or maybe someone actually may hit you. When it comes to, it could be a fight with somebody. It could be, a car accident. It could be anything, honestly. But you just hurting your brain can also cause you to have epilepsy. All right, so now causes. This is the things that I've put on my paper, but there are videos that I'm going to show you just in a minute for you to understand the severeness and how people's life can be, can change from this epilepsy, and especially for those who really do not understand, because what happened is, like, when you do not understand something, it really it pushes you to react negatively, reject the situation, and really, or maybe come to this denial and telling yourself that this is not real, my child doesn't have it, or especially for those who are really believers, because sometimes you need to face situation, you need to understand, okay, this is it, let me deal with it this way. But sometimes as well, we as human, we also come to this term to reject and to deny the situation that's happening to our child, to our nephew, niece, and even to ourselves, refusing to get the help that we need in order to address the situation. So now epilepsy, literally, I could say that epilepsy comes in just maybe to remind you as well that, hey, you have an issue. There's a situation happening in you, inside you, in your mental state, and it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with. And I believe that I had a conversation with a young lady back in the day, I'll say maybe like 13, 14 years ago. And whether I had, I sat down with her to trying to understand really what is epilepsy. So just to say that this theme that I'm bringing to you is not new to me. It's really something that has affected, a friend of mine, and it was quite difficult to deal with because that was someone that I really, really, really cared about. So now, causes: imbalance of nerve signal, the chemicals, and called neurotransmitters. It could be the causes, maybe tumor. It could be maybe a stroke. This could also be called the brain damage, as I just mentioned earlier, brain damage, and also from illness, injuries, anything that you really, when it comes to you being affected, you know, in your brain. And this is why it's important to take care of yourself. This is why it's important to take time to put yourself first when it comes to, you know, even when it comes to the little details, the little things that you may think like, okay, you know what, it's not important, but it is still important. So now, I have a video, if Regie can help me, whereby there is an interview with the, what's it on TV, this doctor trying to explain really what is epilepsy and so forth. And I would like you to really pay attention to this one. And maybe towards the end, we may receive a reverend that can really try to make us understand what is epilepsy, and is it a spirit? Is it not? Is it something normal? Is it something that we should accept and deal with? Is it something that we should, you know, reject? It really depends on the mindset, and also depend on how you grow up and so forth. But hey, let's hear the pros and the cons, and hear really what they have to say when it comes to epilepsy. So if Regie can help me to play the first video, I believe, is with the interview. Thank you so much.
Now we are joined via phone by Dr. Edward Bertram. He is a neurologist and professor of neurology at the University of Virginia, and Secretary General of the International League Against Epilepsy. Dr. Bertram, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving us this chance to talk some about epilepsy.
Absolutely. Listen, when we hear about epilepsy, we often think about seizures, which is really a characteristic of the condition. But talk to us about this disease and the fact that it's not just about seizures, right?
Correct. I mean, when everybody thinks about epilepsy, what they always picture is somebody falling down and getting stiff all over and jerking in a grand mal seizure is what a lot of people call them. Mm-hmm. And that's a very scary thing to see. But there are lots of other different types of seizures in which people will just sometimes stare. The typical one that people always think about is what are called petit mal or absent seizures in children with the fluttering eyes. But it really is, the seizure is really just it's a few minutes, and sometimes it happens every few months or even less than that. But the impact of epilepsy on a person's life is huge in terms of how they're perceived and what they're allowed to do in many countries. So as we say now, epilepsy is more than just seizures.
So what causes epilepsy? Is it a genetic condition? Is it something that one can develop over the years?
There are lots of causes. And although there is clearly some forms of epilepsy which have a major component of genetics, and there are really clearly some genetic causes of epilepsy. Many other people get it for other reasons. Sometimes if there is in a child, if there is an injury at birth, or if someone has an infection around the brain, this will cause damage, which can sometimes lead to seizures. Sometimes when the brain is developing, there are a few areas that just don't quite form correctly, and that little spot can cause seizures, and that's all that it does. And then as people go through life, brain injuries will cause seizures as well. And aging can also bring on epilepsy. So the causes of epilepsy vary a little bit by the age of the person. Typically, epilepsy is thought of as a childhood disease, and not much after that. But in fact, the elderly are also very prone to epilepsy as well. So again, there are a lot of different causes, and one of the things that we look for when someone comes to us with possible epilepsy is what's causing the seizure to happen.
So talk to us about management, given that there are different ways that the disease develops. What about treatment and management? How do that differ according to the type?
Well, there are certain types, such as the childhood absent seizure, which is, again, the child will have these frequent brief staring spells. And there's a very specific choice of medicines that you want to use. Other than that, really, the medicines that are available for most of the other types of seizures are roughly equal. And it's a matter of just recognizing that the symptoms that somebody are having are the symptoms of a seizure, and then choosing which medicine best fits that particular patient. There's no best medicine for epilepsy in most cases. It's the one that works for the patient and also the one that the patient can have access to, which is also a big issue in many parts of the world. People just can't get to the medicines that would be helpful to them.
Dr. Bertram, before we wrap, what are the biggest challenges and what do you hope to see in the management of epilepsy in general?
I think the biggest challenges we have, first of all, are recognizing that someone has epilepsy. But in many parts of the world, it is simply getting access to appropriate treatment. In many cultures around the world, epilepsy is not viewed as a medical condition, but more of a spiritual situation. And it makes sense in many ways. Most people think of disease as something that you have. It happens and goes on for some days or weeks or months, sometimes more seriously, but then it's over. But epilepsy is something which happens briefly and then goes away for a while and then happens again. And in many parts of the world, this is sort of viewed more as some sort of a sign of a spiritual event. And perhaps the biggest challenge we have in getting treatment to many people is just for them to recognize that there is a medical treatment for it. This is a medical condition, and that there are medicines for it. But that's a long education process because people believe in certain things in terms of what causes epilepsy, and it's much more difficult to them for us to educate them otherwise. So the biggest challenge, perhaps, everywhere is just education, getting people to know that there are treatments and that it is a medical condition. And then the second big challenge is, in many places, is just having the medicines available. In many countries of the world, medicines are not available or not available regularly because people have to take their medicines every day. So those are the two big challenges.
Okay.
Et bon, nous sommes bel et bien de retour. We are back, and I hope that this, the short video of our doctor and then this, short interview, I would say, has maybe come to, to make you understand a little bit what is really epilepsy and the facts of it. So, but because we were discussing what's it called, a theme that is not just in closing. It's not just, we're not just talking about how the fact that it is, physic, and we can see the effects of it, and we can see the reality of it. We can see how someone can, come in this world being okay and suddenly, start having epilepsy, or maybe being born with it. But we're also talking about this other aspect when it comes to this, spiritual side of it. Why spirit? Because obviously, as I mentioned earlier, that epilepsy is often seen as if someone is cursed, someone is, someone is not normal, someone is not accepted, and so forth. So I had to, to come to get somebody else involved in this discussion in order for us to discuss really whether epilepsy is spirit. Is there a spirit behind epilepsy, or is it completely normal? Can we just accept it, move on with it, and then drink or take our medicine in order to feel better and continue to take care of ourselves as we are going in life? Or can we take a different turn? So I will bring on the table Reverend Mylene Mudiai, who is an apostle. And I believe that you and I have received the woman of God. Yes, woman of God. I was just presenting you to the people of Étincelle, saying that, you are a guest in our show many times before, and who has brought a lot of knowledge to, the family communities and the people everywhere around the world. So now when it comes to this theme, epilepsy, whether it is spirit or is just a normal disease, I had to come and knock on your door tonight in order to get some clarities when it comes to this. So good evening, Apostle
Good evening
Mylene.
to you. Good evening to you, Etansel, and thank you to have welcomed me for the Epilepsy show.
How you doing today?
I am good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good. So tonight we are discussing epilepsy, as I just mentioned, and it is a theme. It's a little, I will say, taboo when it comes to the African community. People don't really talk about it as much as cancer or tumor or any other diseases or illnesses, but it's mainly kind of rejected. Why? Is because some believe that there is a spirit or there is something going on when it comes to epilepsy. So I've seen some interviews here and there where families, members have, have taken their children to, to the synagogue, to the church to get delivered. Why? Because they have epilepsy, because they may not understand, or maybe they do, but they don't want to deal with it. So now, I wanted to ask you my first question. Have you ever heard about the word epilepsy before, anywhere, maybe in your congregation or maybe just in family before?
Okay, epilepsy. I've encountered with epilepsy when I started with the ministry.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's not something that is new. It's something that you heard of it before.
No, I never heard before.
Oh, you never? Okay.
Of this kind of reaction in someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I read in the Bible the story of this child, that the father was approaching the Lord Jesus to express what he could see, or people couldn't, see in his son. Apart from that, I never encountered personally with an epileptic case or an epileptic situation.
Before.
The very first case for me as a minister in the ministry was epilepsy.
Mm-hmm. All right. So and how when you came to to face the situation, or to encounter someone coming to you with this case of epilepsy, what was your reaction? Were you shocked? Were you a little bit timid about it? What was your reaction, your first reaction when it comes to this person and bringing you this case?
At first, you will not know straight away that's epilepsy. And as I said again, from my experience, I never encountered with that before.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I didn't realize at first that's an epileptic case or an epileptic in my presence, until this person start telling me that they have epilepsy. However, the very first time I saw the reaction, I was very confused as a minister, but as a person, a human being, that was something I never met. I mean, it was the very first time. And the reaction of this one was very, very, very hard to look at and to understand exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
This lady was turning from a very young stage of her sitting down while she's been speaking to me. And then suddenly she looked very pale and like a very old lady, and changing the face, changing the way of talking, and then becoming two different person. And this was very shocking.
Oh, wow. And did you feel to yourself that this situation could be dealt with, or maybe you thought to yourself, okay, you maybe, because in the community, I believe that we have many pastors, or maybe someone that you may know, that you thought to yourself, okay, maybe this case is too much for me. I may send this person to another pastor, or maybe sending this person to the doctor to deal with this case.
This question for me is a bit, you don't deal with a case of epilepsy by just saying suddenly, yeah, I need to bring this one to this other pastor or someone else, just like that. Epilepsy is not, it's a very, very dangerous sickness. And it has to be taken with many care and many consideration as well for the person who is sick. You don't just take someone outside and say, okay, this person is epileptic, you need to deal with. And I believe as well that there are many different kind of epilepsy.
Yes.
There are different kind of reactions. People are reacting differently when it comes to epilepsy. And you cannot deal with all of them in the same way.
Yes.
From my perspective or from my experience, seeing someone changing from a very old face, a very youngest face, to a very old face, and speaking a language that I never heard in my life apart from my speaking in tongue. But this one is really speaking a language which is completely twisted than what you were saying, and from nowhere start telling you things about that, things that you don't even know where it's coming from. And at first you want to help this person.
Yeah.
You want to give the first aid to this person because it's in front of you. You don't think about the pastor here and the pastor over there. And as a minister, because as I say, I was in the ministry, the very first things to do is to pray or to chase out a spirit, because when you look at it, it doesn't look medically, like symptoms of any other sicknesses.
So
it's really, you look at it as this is spiritual. This is a bad spirit. This is something new. I don't know about that.
So sorry to cut you, Apostle. So as you were looking at this person, I don't know whether it was a female or a male, but how I'm gonna say this, you looking at this person, you saw for you. It was more like a spirit, or it was more like it's just a normal disease or illness, sorry to say, that I can just pray over it and it'll cast it out and it will go.
No, I went with both.
Okay.
At first I start spiritually, and I start questioning, because I don't know if you understand, this person lost her memory, lost conscience.
No.
I was in front of someone who completely lost her conscience. She was not the same person with whom I was speaking to. There was a different person, and the reaction in the room, the talk changed completely. You need to control that. You need to understand what's going on here. This person looks so young, and then suddenly is old, telling me stories, behaving differently. And this is what I understood after. That's why you call seizures. She was, having her seizures, and for her was really, really very, very strong. So at first I took it as spiritually linked, and then after I got to understand that she as well used medicine. Yeah.
Oh wow. So for those who are watching us, honestly, there are many types. But Apostle, would you say that behind every illness, if I may say this, is there's a spirit, hidden, or right behind it? Can we say that?
Not 100%.
Okay.
There are some natural sicknesses that we have or we are facing in our body. It's natural. Maybe it's condition because of the weather, because of what you are eating or drinking. You can have a food poisoning, and where it will go with you. This is natural, and it needs to be healed naturally as well. Still, there are some other sicknesses which are links to witchcraft, which are links to evil, which are links to bad lucks, which are links to spirituality, if you want me to say that. Yeah, and it's evil. So I would not say all the sicknesses are linked evilly. I don't know if you can say that in English. However, yeah, we have some natural sicknesses and some evil sicknesses.
Okay. And do you think maybe this is the reason why we have I mean I counter some videos and interviews whereby a lot of children were young, very very young, 5 years old, 4 years old, and because they are reacting certain way because of the fit and the seizure, and because the parent is not quite understanding what's happening with my child, they're developing this fear in them, taking the child and bringing them to to the church, to the synagogue, in order for the pastor or sisters to take care of the child, believing there is a spirit. Do you think that's maybe the reason why these parents react that way?
Church is not a bad place to bring someone, an epileptic person, to the priest or to this minister. In the Bible, they will report to us the story of this father who encountered with the Lord Jesus about the same situation. His son was epileptic, and this young son started epileptic when he was very young. He was a child. They will clearly see, and he will use the word, the evil spirit. The demons will lead this child in fire, in water, and push him to do certain things which are abnormal. Of course, when those are evil, you can know, you can identify that this is not normal. And a normal parent without knowledge, sometimes it's just a lack of knowledge because you don't know exactly what's going on. Secondly, you don't know what to do when it comes to that case, or if you don't have more information or enough information about this sickness. Yes, of course, yes, you can either make mistakes, or you can lead this situation in wrong. However, going to church is not a bad thing. It's not a bad idea. Going to church can be a very secure place where they can give you a hand, where they can help you to understand what's going on with your child or with yourself, perhaps. They can ask you, they can teach you, or they can lead you. So we have pastoral care people in the church. We have chaplain in some hospital, whereby even in the hospital, in our in the way the modern area is leading the church, the hospital today, we have what we call chaplain. Chaplain are led by ministers, but it is located in the hospital, because at the hospital they don't only receive medication, they don't only receive doctors, but they receive also spiritual guidance. They receive as well prayers. There are some nurses, there are some doctors who are Christian or who believe or who have a faith. They will lead their own patients not only to bring medication but pray as well. They can lead them to God. And so the chaplain is used to recruit spiritual or ministers who can help the hospital. You find chaplain even in prisons, where they are minister guide only for that work. They're not only in the church, but they are ministers. They have been anointing to add, to help in the community. The only thing is just that they are not in the church. They are just outside the church. And if you go to a hospital, you ask for chaplain, they will show you a chaplain and you will meet ministers over there. And they go room after room, or they can meet with them to talk with some patients, to pray for them. And yeah.
You just said something that really caught my ears. Is like the word mistakes. Don't you think that somehow, like, if pastors who are not really knowledgeable in this field, but maybe lying could be the point. Maybe that they're lying, thinking, not even thinking, like pursuing family members they didn't know about or know how to heal, or to help the family with this case of epilepsy, are actually destroying families instead of helping, apostles.
What is very important to highlight is the fact that no matter your calling as a minister in the field of a pastor, we're more using the word pastor because the pastor in the five ministry is the shepherd. Mm-hmm. The pastor is the one who show cares. He's the one who will show more love, assistance, and being a pastor doesn't mean just focus on the Bible, read the Bible, and stand up on the altar and preach. I believe pastors need as well to get to mastering in certain field where they can easily bring healing. So a pastor needs more knowledge outside the Bible as well. Mm-hmm. They need to know more about some and certain cases that we can face with in our communities, in our churches. Case like epilepsy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a sickness, or it's a disease that as a pastor, we need to master that the same way as a doctor is trying to find out what to do about this case. So if it is spiritually linked, the pastor needs to do more research and more work to know exactly how to deal with this specific situation. Mm-hmm. Now, saying that they are leading in wrong, or they are mistaking families, or they are leading them in something which is not true, I will not take it for 100% with a yes, but I will say that it happened that yes, certain pastor might have led people in the wrong, mm-hmm. but others are trying their best to really be what they are, who they are, ministers of God, mm-hmm. and bring the helps. So for those who have been unlucky and met with the wrong one and had been led in something which is completely destroying or stressful, I am deeply and sincerely sorry for that. Mm-hmm. But it's never been late in life. There are many helps outside there and inside as well, the church. There are good pastors, there are good ministers who are really opening their arms to welcome those who are suffering of epilepsy and help them accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Coming back to you, when it comes to the case of epilepsy that you encounter, would you please be able to tell us, like, what was the steps that you took in order to help this individual in this case of epilepsy? Maybe in case that someone is watching, they may understand that there's still hope when it comes to epilepsy attack. For I have encountered this young man who mentioned saying that his life has completely changed. Knowing that epilepsy has really taken a whole in his life. It has really changed his life. So what was the steps as you being a reverend to help this individual?
One of the very first steps that I took, and I'm still taking, is being flexible. Mm-hmm. And I've been a flexible woman of God toward this person. I've tried not to be too difficult in the way of living, and actually I even give the opportunity to make this person feel comfortable. Comfortable around me, comfortable around themselves. That's one of the very important things to do with an epileptic person or someone who's healing from epilepsy. They need to feel comfortable. When they start feeling that they are triggered by something, it can either come back or create something which is no good in them or around them. You need always to make them feel comfortable. Be flexible with them. Some of them maybe the one I dealt with a long time ago, very long time ago, was someone who usually will sit down in front of TV without volume. Wow. Just images passing by, and she will be really, really concentrated and look at it as if it's she can hear what is happening. At the beginning, I thought that was abnormal. I will put the volume and I will increase and I will shout. I will be like, how can you watch TV like this? You cannot. And the way she will look at me, it's like she's desperate. I will make her feel uncomfortable. One day, when I prayed for her, the Lord said, this is what she likes doing, so let her feel comfortable that way. So I start joining her to sit down there as if, I am like her. This has made her feel comfortable and helped me now to go through the process of her healing. The other one is to create a positive routine for this person.
Okay.
Positive routine. She's not supposed to be, because she was part of the church, to do exactly like everyone is doing.
Okay.
You need to understand her language, understand what she wants, and not put an over pressure on her when it's about to do things. So I will try my best to create a good routine, something which will make her feel comfortable or make myself comfortable. The second epilepsy situation that I faced with made me just be a parent for this one.
Okay.
Just giving to this person what is missing in her life, to make her, apart from prayers, to make her feel comfortable and at ease. So I've won her.
So now, because I've seen some practice and some how to practice and routine, right? Routine that some pastors or men of God who have dealt with epilepsy cases and so forth, and it was making them drink a lot of oil, and make them starve for so many days, because they believe that because there's a spirit right behind it, then this is the case. But what you're telling me is completely different. You're telling me that you had to create a positive surrounding, routine, being a parent, and being basically somebody they can trust, someone that they can have around really without fear. Why so? Why this approach, honestly, compared to another person or pastor I just mentioned, that will take a different routine and keep on speaking in tongue for hours and hours in order to cuss the spirit out?
Epilepsy, it's quite a very huge topic. I'm trying to be a bit, not to give, too much details when it comes to that. Still, I believe it's about context.
Okay.
I don't know what was the video you watched, but I can stand on my position on saying that it's about context.
Okay.
At first, maybe, as I said, I will not know exactly what do we have to do around epilepsy. And the more I'm growing up in my knowledge, I'm getting to understand exactly what is this sickness, what it is, and what do you want me to do, Lord. From another pastor, maybe, who is not on the same path and then myself, they will deal with it differently. Understand that at the beginning I said the cause can be spiritual or the cause can be something else. No, happening in that area, I don't know what is the real cause which has made this pastor believe that more oil has to be given to this child for the child to be healed. I will not know. But you can understand that Africa, Europe, India, America, and you can name all these places, they deal with epilepsy differently. Those who live in India will tell you perhaps other practice, how they do and deal with such a case. But when you go in Africa, from a village to town, they will give you different kind of approach as well. And in this London where I am, my way of dealing with this case will perhaps not be the same with another pastor in Manchester. Okay, it depends really of what they are learning and how they are dealing with. But we all use the same Bible, which brings the story and show to us how the Lord Jesus chased out the bad spirit. So when it comes now to chase out the spirit, definitely the spirit will be chased out. Some deliverance will come in a day, others will come with time. Prayer is good, receiving the Lord Jesus is good, but you need to lead this person in the process of healing in the soul and healing or get delivered in this sickness. So I believe it's about context and understanding of how to manage what you have in your presence. And for me, apart from prayer, apart from chasing out the bad spirit, that's what I believe was very important to give to these epileptic people.
Thank you so much. The 100,000 million, I don't know, $10 billion dollar question, as we said, that epilepsy, is it a spirit or a true physical illness? So one word, Apostle. Is epilepsy a spirit or is it a normal illness? If you could choose between these two, what would you say?
If I have to choose between those two, epileptic, it's spirit.
A spirit.
Yeah, but if I don't have to choose, I will say it's both.
Okay. Why is that?
It's spirit because, once more again, I said, what happened from my experience, I will see how there will be a change in this person. And what this person will be doing will be the opposite of what I know as being a normal living that we used to have, or I've been seeing her. And she will talk, and the behavior was completely different. And from her inside, she will say things which are not good, and even this person will lose completely memories. She will not remember sometimes 5 years of her life. And what she will bring back to you will be false stories, things which never existed, and and this is not normal.
Not to cut you, but doing my researches when it comes to epilepsy, it literally says as well, like when you have epilepsy, this what happens is like you do lose memories of your life.
I saw that. I can confirm. She will lose all her memories. The only thing I remember when she was doing her seizures, she will know me. She will know my name. She will say, "Oh, I know you. Your name is Mylene. You pray for me. You are a friend. But all the rest, I don't know them." And it's another word, that spirit, that's spiritual. I will not say spirit, but I will use the word spiritual to say that it's this zone where nobody controls. This is why at the hospital they will give them those medications are not helping them. They are just making them sleep. Just to calm them so that when they wake up, they are a bit, but it's not really a medication.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
My next question will be for parents around the world, for those who are watching, and the ones who, unfortunately, their child is going through epilepsy. What would be your advice? What would be your advice to parents who their child, is going through epilepsy, and how would you give a word of comfort, if I may say this, or to let them know that there's maybe still hope or maybe not? What is your advice for them?
Okay, for parents who face this situation, they need to I will advise them to get to know more about the disease, or to get to know more their kids as well. Mm-hmm. Because they need to create this flexible and comfortable environment for the child to feel really good. I know for epileptic people, they don't go in. They don't swim alone. They don't climb to heights. They do not cook over an open flame without supervision. They do not drive.
Yeah, they have a lot of boundaries.
There is a lot of boundaries, restriction, because of it can happen anytime. Something can trick them. A color can trick. Weather can trick. Anything can trick them, and the reaction can lead them in something really bad. Therefore, they need, as parents, to give that support, to give the support by doing, and not just talking, but doing. Do not give, do not do. They have really to give that support in such way, and not feel like they are a cursed family, but those child are blessed children as well when when you get to control them, when you get to know them, they are good people. Yeah.
All right. This is basically my question. I believe maybe there are other people who are still wondering a little bit more, and I believe that from what you have explained, it will make a little bit more sense for them to understand, okay, what epilepsy is this, but it's also this, and then this is how it may be, can be dealt with in a way or another, and not to lose hope.
Yeah, do not, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Apostle.
God bless you. I want to add one thing is, as we say, there are different kind of epilepsy, from the very low cases to the very highest, normal or spiritual. Some epileptic cases can be very harmful. And maybe as well you will understand why some other places they will use, or they will do other ways to heal or to control what is happening. An epileptic can bring a curse in the house. An epileptic can bring a bad spirit in the house. An epileptic can be in connection with evil spirit, bring in the house, destroy the house. There are so many things. That's why I said it depends on context. Saying to a parents that give support, consider the case that you have, get to know more about the sickness, get to know where far the child is with the sickness, see what help you can give. Consult medicine, consult doctor, but as well spend time in prayer and give support to your child. Yeah. It's possible to be healed.
Apostle, I have a last question. As you were speaking, it just came to me. To me, I believe that, men's and women of God, somehow they are like doctors, but just in the spiritual side, and then they also deal with cases and trying to help people as well in a way, but more like in the inside and more in this invisible side, if I may say this. So when it comes to this case of epilepsy, what do you think, according to you, that can help the not just a family, not just a community, or not just the world, to stop this, or maybe to reduce, if I may say this, to reduce epilepsy, sickness, illness, to to be spread, or to be, to be more alive in our community? How is there a way?
Yeah, love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love. Okay. Why?
Love needs to be done in the family.
Is
Love
it
needs
because
to
you
be
believe there's no
expressed.
love? Okay. Okay.
Because an epileptic feel uncomfortable. Epilepsy can come as well in becoming very strong. Giving support to someone because you love this person. The more we love, then the more we can stop these epileptic goals, be sprayed. Because instead, when there is no love, we are more focuses on evil spirit. We can really do bad to this person.
Mm-hmm.
And we can reject the person and stop helping. But when we start loving, we are more, we care. When the love is there, you think, okay, what can I do? What can I do? How can I help? You start thinking like this because there is this care in you, this love in you. So I believe love is an answer to many, 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 many things. Not only epilepsy.
Because this makes me think about the situation of this child, because there are many children who are born with epilepsy and then they never ask for it. But would you say even in this case, love needs to be applied? Because this
love
child
means to accept someone. Love, it's about accepting, being patient. Do you want me to describe love to you as from my perspective as a pastor?
Please.
1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, love is kind, love is, all these different way expressing love. When I say love has to be there, maybe I want to mention patient. A parent needs to love the child by being patient. Don't fast. All these different definition of love are only to the Bible. If we start putting them in practice, we will help more than the contrary. Yeah.
I like
the
that.
child is born epileptic. You won't reject the child. But because you love this child, you are patient enough to take all the steps that will require you to help the child. If
Think maybe the connection. Hello, Apostle. Yes, Apostle.
We've been cut off. Yeah, I see. Sorry for that again. If it's to wake up early in the morning, to go days after day, every day for a meeting, for an appointment, for a doctor, it's about love. It's about love. It's because you love this child, you love this one. This is why you are able to be patient enough until you see some change and some evolution in this person's life.
Oh wow, I like the answer.
May the Lord bless
Thank
you.
you so much,
God bless you.
Apostle. Thank you so much.
Feel free anytime. You can get me on the platform, which will be more easy than the phone. Yeah, and then we can elaborate more.
I believe
on
we're
the topic.
definitely going to do it soon.
Thank you.
Maybe still continue on this topic of epilepsy. And we'd like to have you on the show, definitely. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so as you heard from the Reverend Apostle Mylene Mudiai blessing herself, the different kinds of answers that may be able to help you when it comes to epilepsy, whether it is spirit or whether it is, just a normal illness, how to deal with this sickness, this illness that is really, really, really touching a lot of children, especially. I can't even speak. I cannot just say Europe, Asia, or Africa, or so forth, but it's just to say that it's literally everywhere. But when you can deal with it with love, kindness, patients, as Apostle just mentioned. I believe there's a lot of change that can help, but also understanding and accepting the situation is also a step forward. For example, like here in Europe, we have NHS, most of the hospitals are giving their help and support to these children who have epilepsy, and they know, okay, you know what, in case there's something's happening with my child or with this child, they have a free access to medicine, a free access with with treatment and so forth. But there are countries just like maybe Africa or maybe Asia and so forth who do not have that access, who children don't have the access to be able to get the help that they need in order to get better. And I'm really going to call upon ministers of health when it comes to the African country, in my country especially right now, Congo DRC. If you are watching Étincelle, please consider this case when it comes to epilepsy, as there are a lot of children who are abused, physically abused at home because of this case of epilepsy, being burned, bitten, rejected, and some of them are becoming orphans. Why? Because lack of knowledge and lack of help, lack of love. If the country, if the system can change a little bit and have a little bit more love when it comes to this situation, I believe that will make a great change in the world. So the change begin with the man in the mirror, meaning you, meaning me, meaning us. All right, so this was the show of epilepsy that I really wanted to bring to you, because someone kind of mentioned it to me as well. And as I told you, if you have any sort of theme that you feel like we need to bring it on the table, let's talk about it. Gracia, I know that you are that person that can do it. I'm definitely going to take the challenge and bring it on the table in order to discuss more in depth when it comes to the subject. It was Gracia Susuzande, and thank you again, Apostle Mylene, for coming on the show. And we are going to meet next week, Monday, same time, 8 p.m. Don't be late for another episode of Étincelle. And remember, you can come from somewhere and go somewhere. See you soon, and take care of yourself.